Alright guys, this is a long playing review for Rainbow Islands on the Amstrad CPC. Now first of all, before I start with this, I have to get something out the way quick. 3 or 4 weeks ago I roughly started work on this, and 2 weeks ago I had an update video announcing I will be doing Rainbow Islands next. I had seen another YouTuber's long play done 6 years ago by Axelino. Many long play videos of Amstrad games in his channel, but notice the ending message seemed to suggest this wasn't the real true ending. It spoke of getting 7 big diamonds. I also remember the manual talking about secret rooms too, so I was intrigued to work out all these secrets and do a new video which showed all of them. Little did I know during the last 3 weeks, where I've been kind of busy and away from things, there was no less than 3 new long play videos uploaded for Rainbow Islands on the Amstrad. One of which showing the bad ending as before, one showing the true ending, and finally one showing all the secrets plus the true ending. Oh dear, it had to happen eventually when I've done a video and someone else has just beat me to it by a few days or whatever. Annoyingly, in my recording I hadn't found the secrets as well, but I had put all that work in and recorded it, so I don't want it to go to waste. And as I said as well in the update video, I'm looking at the best games on the Amstrad in the run up to the 30th anniversary of the Amstrad CPC's release. Anyway, I hate to steal anyone's thunder, and I've always been courteous not to redo other people's long plays, not unless significant time had passed or I found something they didn't in the game. So in the spirit of goodwill, and hopefully they'll get a few new subscribers here, there are 2 new awesome channels doing long plays. First one from jgonza, and also David M, who I believe are both Spanish. They did the first 2 Rainbow Islands long plays. And lastly, of course, along with Metra81, who most of you already know, and it's Metra's video that finds all the secrets, which are to do the diamonds and the order you collect them in. You'll see that soon enough, I'm sure. Which, to be honest, is Metra's long play is the better long play video. He's better and quicker at the game than I am. I'm still taking things very cautiously. But all I can contribute here, which is different, is that I've completed the game, finding all the diamonds without losing a life. But at the end of the long play, you'll find bonus footage of me finding one of the secrets. So check that out at the end. So there you go. Enough of that, and on with things as per usual. So as always guys, when I look at conversions to the Amstrad, I take a look at the arcade original as like a comparison, and here's the arcade flyer. I couldn't find a picture of the arcade cabinet actually, strangely enough, but a very nice flyer. And as you can see there guys, it says underneath the Rainbow Islands logo, the story of Bubble Bobble 2. So essentially this is the sequel to the famous Bubble Bobble. I'm sure you probably all know that. And it was released by Taito in Taito. How do you pronounce it? Taito. I always call them Taito. In 1987. And here it is running in MAME emulator. And we'll just go through the demo sequence here. It actually gives you quite a good overview of the game with instructions. So have a look at this. And give you the basic techniques. Kill enemies by hitting them with the rainbows or crushing rainbows above their heads. And you can move along the rainbows, and if you keep pressing the jump buttons, you can jump on rainbows without crushing them, and gets the goal at the end. Okay, simple stuff. But the crushing the rainbows technique by smashing the rainbows onto enemies below is a very key technique you'll need to use and master in the game. So this is me starting up the arcade version. You'll see how I get on here. Pay attention here to, of course, the graphics, the sprites, the animations, how it all moves and plays, the colours, music and sound effects, etc. for when we look at the Amstrad version. You can see there, guys, picked up a few diamonds and a few pickups. Red potions increase the number of rainbows, yellow potions the speed of the rainbows, and we picked up some running shoes as well, which makes us run a bit faster. There's another diamond just picked up there. Now, you release diamonds by smashing a rainbow down on an enemy. Like so. Sometimes they don't always give you diamonds. Sometimes. Ah, yes, there we go. I've got the full collection of diamonds. There's 7 of them to collect. And when you reach beat the boss at the end of the island, you will get rewarded with a giant diamond. Now, on most versions of Rainbow Islands in the arcade, if you get the 7 diamonds for the 7 islands, you get to play 3 more secret islands. But as we later found out, if you collect the diamond in the correct order from left to right, you get a secret bonus room and secret items as well. And what Metro has discovered in his long play video, that carries on over to the Amstrad, and we'll see that as a bonus clip at the end of my long play. But anyway, we'll just watch a little bit more of the arcade original. Got a bonus life there. I'm not sure how I got the bonus life. Excuse me. But we're coming up to the boss battle here. I wanted you to watch this so you can compare it to the Amstrad version. And basically all the bosses are present in the conversion. And there we go, here comes the first boss, the giant spider. And I get caught by him, and that's the dying animation. Yeah, pay attention to that, because I think the Amstrad version mimics that very nicely. And also check out the music as well. The music is going to be very key in the conversion. And obviously when you lose a life, you lose your powers, sadly. I think one of the secret items you can get allows you to keep at least a couple of rainbows if you die. And there's the giant diamond there, guys. And that's what we needed to collect. And that's the end of the first island on the arcade version. You can see there's a little diamond icon on the first island, confirming we've done that. And we move on to the next one. So that will do for the arcade version. So now we move on to the Amstrad version at last, 8 minutes into this sodding video. Right, yes, released by Ocean Software in 1989. But they farmed out the programming to Graftgold, one of the companies Andrew Braybuck was involved with, who did the Amiga version. The Amiga version is one of the highest rated Amiga games of all time. Andrew Braybuck started with games like Uridium on the Commodore 64. Amazing programmer, I think still in the industry today. Programmed by David O'Connor, graphics by John Cumming, and sound by Steve Turner. This is the only game programmer David O'Connor I've got listed for here, did on the Amstrad. John Cumming, the graphics, did Flying Shark and Anarchy. And Steve Turner did sound for Flying Shark as well. And no other Graftgold games to the Amstrad. But anyway, we're starting off here on the first island and first level. And as you can see there, I've collected a couple of diamonds. More on that in a bit. Now there's 7 islands in total, 4 rounds on each island. And there's markers on each round there. You can see like a number 3. It's about 3 of 4. When you reach 4, that's the goal at the top of the plane area. On the arcade version, there are 3 secret islands as well. Sadly, those are missing as they are on the Spectrum and Commodore 64 versions, I believe, and quite a few other ports. And there we go, we've reached our goal and a few items to pick up there. Now, as you can see, lovely graphics, really nice music, and plays really well. Now I'm doing a technique here where you fire a rainbow and then jump on top of it to smash it. And we just picked up a gold diamond there. Now to release like diamonds from the enemies you kill, you have to do that technique. There you go, just picked up a red diamond there. And of course the stars there, they fly out and kill anything on the screen. And we've got to collect 7 diamonds per island. And as you can see, I've collected 6 out of the 7 already. So now we just need the orange diamond. There's another red one, and there's a green one we just picked up. So initially, you'll see me on like I'll try and get as many of the diamonds as possible on like the first couple of rounds of an island. So I'm taking things very cautiously, and also I'm trying to do this without losing a life. So on to round 3. 28 rounds in total, I believe. Yeah, and the stars, if you hit them all... Oh, there's the orange diamond. And there we go, we've collected all the diamonds. Awesome. Now, what happens if you complete the game without collecting all the diamonds? Well, you get a bad ending. I mentioned that earlier. And it tells you the inhabitants of the Rainbow Islands are still held captive, and you need to rescue them by collecting all the diamonds. Oh, there's a running shoe there I just picked up, which makes me move a lot quicker. So yeah, collect all the diamonds. I noticed on Axelino's Longplay, he did about 6-7 years ago, he didn't collect all the diamonds and got the bad ending, so I thought, hey, right, it's about time I did this Longplay. As I said, guys, on my video a couple of weeks ago, the update news video, I'll be looking at all the best games for the Amstrad that I haven't yet looked at, either due to people already having long plays up, I think that's pretty much it. There's a few I haven't looked at, which, you know, like Rick Dangerous and things like that Axelino have already done long plays for. And I don't want to step on people's toes, but not enough time had passed. But as I said at the start of the video, I had no idea that like 3 people had already done long plays in the last week or 2 for this. But my contribution here is I've done it with all the diamonds without losing a life. Now shortly we'll be coming up to our first boss battle. At the end of the 4 rounds on an island, you encounter a boss. And on this one, will be a giant spider. Now, you see there, I defeated him pretty easily. That's because I've got all my special power-ups, and if you fire off enough rainbows and then smash them, that takes a huge amount of damage off the boss guys. But of course, if you lose a life, you lose all your power-ups and have to start over again. Which means that, you know, boss battles won't be as easy as, as it looks there. Now I've just picked up like a blue ring there. Now I believe that's supposed to give me extra points, I believe, from running around. I'm just trying to confirm there's a very good site. Yeah, you get like about 10 or so points for walking around and things. So you can really rack up a high score. You're finding these like special items which are often hidden, or in nearly all cases you have to sort of smash a rainbow on top of an enemy. And yeah, so you're going to really master that technique. Like so. course, yeah, we're on Combat Island here. Thankfully, we've already got 4 diamonds already. Now, I don't know what that thing was there. Like, it looks like a handbag. But I can't see it ever appearing in like the arcade version, unless I'm mistaking what it looks like. And that sometimes appear when you do smash the enemies with a rainbow. Ah, right, the red ring thing there. Every time you jump, you release a load of red stars, which kills all the enemies. That's probably my favourite power-up on the game. Look at that. And an easy way to get hold of lots of those lovely diamonds. Actually, I think some sites have listed it as a tiara rather than a ring. It looks like a ring to me. Or unless the programmers of the Amstrad version got it mixed up there. I can't remember what it looks like now. Oh yes, yellow potions make your rainbows fire faster. Yes, lots of lovely yellow stars, and certainly from starting on this level, you've got to get used to sort of working your way up the screen using rainbows. There's very little platforms to jump on, and you can run and walk across your rainbows. But jump on them, of course, and they'll smash, and they'll disappear eventually as well. And some enemies later on can destroy one or all of your rainbows, so you've got to watch out for that too. Talking of enemies, pretty much all the enemies from the arcade version are present. There's typically, let me have a think. There's usually about 6 enemies per level in the arcade version, and the Amstrad version has managed to get 5 of them. So there's only one sort of enemy missing from the arcade version per level. Usually like a sort of special enemy, like I think on the first island, Insect Island, there's a crow that hatches from an egg. That's unfortunately missing. And I think there's supposed to be a cannon on this level. I think that might be missing. Can't quite remember. I've been practicing this game for weeks before starting this long play, and it took a huge amount of work to do. Hence why I'm going to upload this anyway. Sorry, Metro and jgonza and David M. But like I said, if you want to, hopefully I can force some subscriptions your way. Like at the start of the video, I'll put some links in the description for your channels. And there we go. We just collected 7 diamonds for this level. And some really lovely sprite design, especially on the main character there. I think he's called Bobby, isn't he? Bobby. Oh, actually, you can walk into those enemies there. The soldier in the bunker. If he fires a bomb, it'll be game over. Lose a life. Right, fighting a helicopter. Here's the boss. Again, if you've got the full power-ups, they're fairly easily dispatched. Without, you're going to have real trouble. Right, so we're already on the 3rd island, Monster Island. Favourite of mine because there's Frankensteins, werewolves and Draculas, and vampire bats. Right, I've just picked up a red diamond there, got a blue diamond. I'm going to talk a little bit about the diamonds again, because the difference between my long play and Metra's is that he's collected the diamonds in order from left to right. Which basically is starting off with the red diamond, followed by the orange diamond. Then there's like a yellow diamond, light blue diamond, dark blue diamond, and then a purple diamond. And what I didn't work out is, I sort of knew about collecting the diamonds in order, but I didn't believe that the Amstrad version would have anything special. I think I tested this practicing on my first on the first island, and I collected after practicing and practicing, I collected them in order. But on the boss, when I defeated the boss, nothing really happened. Now on the arcade version, like, you get a secret door appear, and you go in the secret door and you go into another room where there's a special item to collect. Nothing happened. There's no secret door or secret room on the Amstrad version. However, there was a pickup that did appear, and I didn't notice it at the time when I was practicing. Oh right, guys! Oh, just before, right, I've got a. I'll come on to diamonds again, but notice I've got a fairy there. I picked up a very, very rare special item there. I think it's a green sort of feather. It looks a bit like a green leaf as well. And you get a fairy zipping around you for the entire level, protecting you. I mean, you can still get hit, but anything that the fairy touches will die. That's a really cool power up. Certainly makes it easier to collect diamonds. There we go. I think this is pretty much the only time I find the feather and the fairy in the game. So make the most of watching it. Oh, she's disappeared there. Okay, I think on the arcade version she lasts the whole level pretty much. And that's worth remembering. Some of the special power-ups, like the red ring or tiara, which shoots out stars when you jump, like that, only lasts for a set period of time. And I think what I'll do is I'll come back to the diamonds again later on, because I've only got one more to find here, and there it is. Now notice where that purple diamond landed and I picked it up. What I couldn't work out is how to like trigger diamonds in like the correct order. I found it incredibly difficult to get the diamonds in the first place. I mean, believe me guys, even though I'm doing this on one life, it's very difficult, especially the rising tide there. See that? So you do have a time limit on levels. You don't want to get drowned by the ocean rising. But yeah, this is a very, very tough game. Very, very tough, especially later on. And can be quite frustrating, especially when you jump up and there's an enemy sort of waiting just above you. So be very cautious. What I couldn't work out is how to spawn the diamonds in the right order. It seems like sort of fairly random to me, which is a bit frustrating. But it actually is quite obvious, and I can't believe I missed it. And perhaps I should have watched some other like long plays, like the arcade version long play, because this conversion is extremely faithful to the arcade version. Oh god, it's so annoying when you drop down and you keep missing all the platforms and you ended up right at the bottom of the level. Well, there's no special way to trigger the diamonds apart from obviously smashing enemies over your rainbow, but they appear in order of where they land in the plane area. So for example, if you divide the plane area vertically in about sort of 7 sections, for example, well, the red diamond will always appear on the far left. If it lands in the plane area on the far left, it will be a red diamond. If it lands slightly to the right of that, it will be the orange one. And also for the purple diamond, the last one there in the sequence, it will always appear on the far right, where those items are now. I'm just about to pick up. So what that means is you've got to be even more clever with how you sort of smash your rainbows. and how you trigger the. For example, when you kill an enemy, there you can see like the shell of the enemy, or it looks like a sort of a light blue coloured fish or whatever. Depending on which way they're walking and when they get hit by your rainbow, determines the direction of where their I don't know, their shell or fish will land. But it makes it even trickier to collect them in the right order. And a great deal of skill is involved with getting that right. I did think about re-recording, but really I spent so much time on this, and it was such an effort to get this done without losing a life after many attempts, so I just don't feel like doing it again. Go and watch Metra's video if you want to see that. Now, what happens if you collect the diamonds in the correct order? Well, you do get a special item, as I mentioned at the end of the level. I did notice it on my practicing, because on the first level, I think you get a running shoe, which means you have permanent running speed and faster speed, walking and jumping about. So if you lose a life and lose all your power-ups, you will retain that power-up. And I think I did notice it on my practicing peering after defeating the boss, because I think I had a load of rainbows and smashed them. I hadn't noticed I picked it up. I already had the running shoe, and it wasn't obvious. But watch the bonus clip at the end of this long play to see that in action. I'm getting at least one bonus item. Other bonus items from collecting the diamonds in order: permanent double rainbows, permanent speed on the rainbows, oh yes, my favourite one, which I've done in the bonus clip, is a set of wings. Now, there is a power-up apparently in the game you can find that will give you wings temporarily, like other power-ups. I've never seen it happen though, and it seems to be a very, very rare event. So that's what's in the bonus clip at the end, the fairy rings power-up. There's also a permanent fairy as well, which will be very, very useful. I think one more, I'm not sure quite what that does. Like I said though, watch Metra's video. And really, I've not even sort of talked much or at all about this conversion, like the graphics and playability and things like that. Yeah, because there's an awful lot to talk about with Rainbow Islands. Initially, it appears like quite a simple, fun game, but there's lots of hidden secrets and things. You may have noticed that if you set up rainbows on certain platforms or ground, it will reveal sort of hidden items. Now, I've not bothered doing that on my long play. I mean, basically, there won't be any sort of special power-ups and stuff revealed, usually, as far as I know anyway on the Amstrad version. Just extra points. But yeah, loads of hidden stuff, lots of hidden power-ups, the secret rooms on this version, secret items, the diamonds, what do they do, the bad ending and good ending, loads of stuff. Oops. And what is really, really fantastic about this version is, well, they've pretty much been all carried over. And it's extremely faithful to the arcade original, and Ocean Software, and specifically Graftgold, have to be commended for this. I mean, they could have just bashed out a quick and dirty Rainbow Islands port, just with you know, maybe a couple of power-ups, like to get extra rainbows or something. But no, they've gone really all out to add most, if not nearly all, the special hidden power-ups and things. The only major thing missing, of course, is the 3 extra worlds if you collect all the diamonds, which is a shame. But to be fair, most versions miss that out. I mean, that's a real kind of huge ask, really, especially on a 8-bit conversion, to like cram that in on the disc and tape. So fair enough, I'm not too upset about that. There's plenty of game here. It's certainly hard enough as it is, and certainly plenty of lots of things to find as well. So no, I'm not really going to mark them down too harshly for that, because I mean, this conversion is like simply superb. It's one of the best conversions on the Amstrad. The graphics are absolutely gorgeous, really colourful, wonderful sprite design. Some people's eyes who have not used Amstrad, it might be a bit sort of blocky and pixelated and blurry, possibly. But this is really good stuff for the Amstrad, and it's certainly any Rainbow Islands fan will be pretty pleased with this. If not having played in it or used an Amstrad before. Of course, the average Amstrad user will be extremely pleased with this. This is a fantastic conversion. The music's great, obviously a variation of Somewhere Over the Rainbow from The Wizard of Oz, as it was used in the arcade version. Sound effects are delightful as well. I have to admit though, the music does get a little bit irritating after hearing it again and again. I mean, it's so jolly, nice and twee. But I think the arcade version used the same music throughout all the islands, pretty much. Remember, guys, as well, there's nice jingles at the end of the level. There's nice music on the boss encounters as well. That changes then, and it all sounds superb. Now, compared to the other versions, Specky version is excellent. Oh, that was very lucky then. I just have to mention that the collision detection is really good on this as well. Sometimes it feels a little unfair, but really, watching back video footage of, you know, me playing this and other people playing it where they do die, it doesn't actually look unfair at all. The main thing some people might take away is the frame rate is not liquid smooth, certainly with the scrolling, but it's smooth enough. It may not be as smooth as, for example, the Commodore 64 version, but it plays at exactly pretty much the same speed. And in my opinion as well, the Commodore 64 version, I think the graphics look much better on the Amstrad one, and for one of the first times ever in a comparison, I think the music on the Amstrad and Spectrum versions actually sounds better than the Commodore 64 with its SID chip. Controversial that, but I just didn't like it. This kind of music is really suited to the AY chip the Amstrad and the later version Spectrums use. Spectrum version is really good. Obviously, it's going to lack the colours of the Amstrad version, but it's still an extremely good conversion. It's almost hard to argue which is better, the Amstrad or the Spectrum version. Most people would want to see all the beautiful colours of Rainbow Islands, which the Amstrad can reproduce. But the Spectrum version does perhaps have its slight advantages here and there. It was rated one of the best games of all time on the Spectrum in a lot of the magazines of the time. I think, what Spectrum was, I think your Sinclair gave it a whopping 94% and placed it at number 8 in the Your Sinclair official top 100 games for the Spectrum. The Amiga version of Rainbow Islands rated even higher than that. I think it was Amiga Power magazine, they ranked it as the #1 game in the all-time top 100. I think only to be replaced later by Sensible Soccer, which is really quite amazing. And the Amiga version was actually done by Andrew Braybrook. Now I remember the Amstrad magazines at the time rating this really highly. I'm going to try and see if I can find the review score. Actually, bizarrely, Amstrad Action at the time only gave it 88%. That is weird. Considering the game, some of the games they rated higher than 88%. That's pretty surprising, actually. I'm shocked by that. They did have some really odd scores sometimes to games. Maybe the reviewer found it too difficult or something. I'm gonna have to dig out my Amstrad Action collection and see if I can find that. Yeah, surprised by that. I'm going to tell you now, guys, I'm going to give this a higher rating than that. Excuse me. So this island we're on at the moment is Doe's Island. I wonder if how many of you are familiar with the game Arkanoid. Arkanoid was a breakout style game from Taito, probably the most famous of the breakout games. Breakout, of course, is that bat and ball game where, a bit like Pong, you've got a bat at the bottom of a ball bouncing around the screen. But at the top of the screen there's a load of bricks that you have to smash through. When you cleared all the bricks, you completed the level. Arkanoid expanded on this fantastically with enemies and power-ups and all sorts of stuff. And the enemies, the most famous enemies from Arkanoid, you can find here in Rainbow Islands on Doe's Island. Oh yeah, we've got some like sort of falling stars there. I don't know what they are. I don't know if they kill enemies or not. That just randomly appears, and I think we'll see that again on the very, very final round as well. They certainly can't hurt you, and you can't pick them up or use them, but there you go. So yes, based on Arkanoid, and the Amstrad version of Arkanoid was excellent as well. But this is a very, very tough island. The levels are really sort of short. Oh, thank God they got all the diamonds. The levels are really sort of short in size, but you've got a tight time limit, very tight time limit actually, and tons of enemies and very, very little platforms to sort of jump on. I think this round here, I forget which round number we're on. I think this is actually one of the this round. This is one of the hardest rounds in the game. Enemies can destroy your rainbows you've created, loads and loads of enemies. Even though it's very, very short, I barely scraped through there. But I think I'm going to declare that officially the hardest round in this conversion. I absolutely hated that. Yeah, round 19. Now, if you defeated the boss on the previous level with collecting all the diamonds in order, you get fairy wings, or wings, just normal wings, which will be very, very useful this level. But there's loads and loads of enemies about that could be just waiting right above your head, so it might not always be that useful. But you'll see that in the bonus clip at the end of the video, as I've said several times. Oh yeah, that's the red tiara. It is a tiara. There's the blue ring and the red tiara in the Amstrad version. And the red tiara gives you the stars when you jump. There's Doe himself. I presume he's pronounced Doe. It's spelled D-O-H. A little bit harder to defeat than the others, but pretty simple attack pattern, as you saw there. So, on to Robot Island. Some tougher enemies here. The flying robot head, these quite annoying. These screws that spring around, they're quite annoying. When you jump, they jump also, which caught me out a few times in the past. Yeah, wow, I've seen about 40 minutes into this long play. Well, actually about 32 minutes, and I've been talking quite a lot. There's plenty to talk about. Well, I'm perhaps starting to run out of things to say and talk about. One thing that annoys me is items from dispatched enemies falling down. If they drop off the screen, like so, if you're not quick dropping down, they will have disappeared by the time you reach the platform they would have ended up on. Which can be quite annoying, especially if you think you've probably got a diamond coming. That's why you might see me dropping down several times in this long play, and you're wondering what am I doing. Cool, there's the orange diamond. They packed this game, the conversion, full of tons of sprites, lots of different items to pick up. Oh, there's the blue ring. That gives me points every time I walk. So you could really rack them up if you wanted to. I'm not doing this long play to get a massive high score, as I mentioned. But cool, there's the red diamond there, and that's all the diamonds for this world. And it's a good idea to try and get them all picked up on the first round or two. Gives you a bit of breathing room on the next few rounds, next couple of rounds or so, because they do get difficult. Although on some islands, round 3 sometimes is a little easier to spawn those diamonds. But now I can have a bit more fun of blasting enemies with rainbows and not worrying about trying to crush them all the time with them, which is harder to do. Now let's talk about a few niggles and perhaps issues with the game generally, or with this conversion. The one thing I do hate is the jumping mechanics. It's really hard to steer yourself sometimes when you're sort of jumping and falling. If you just jump up straight up in the air, you can't really control your descent by moving left and right. You can only just drop down, and maybe it might uch to the left or the right very, very slightly eventually, which can make things very frustrating. You've jumped and you've got an enemy approaching and you want to get away as quick as you can, and you're basically stuck, which can be quite annoying and frustrating. Although, having played the arcade version, it has the same issue there. I don't know if that's purposefully programmed or not, and that can be quite annoying. Even jumping up diagonally, it's quite hard to control your descent sometimes as well. So that does annoy me. Makes things unnecessarily hard. It's also annoying when you've got a rainbow and you like that. I didn't want to like move onto the rainbow. I wanted to jump on it, but I actually started climbing the rainbow. So you've got to watch out for that. But again, that's a similar issue or skill you need to sort of master and watch out for, just like in the arcade version. Sometimes I find jumping up onto rainbows and jumping off them quite tricky. I tend to try and jump on and jump up through the platforms more than jumping on the rainbows. Now there's a technique you can do. If you sort of jump diagonally and time firing your rainbows right and keep holding that jump direction, you can sort of jump really, continue jumping up the screen quite far and quite quickly if you need to sort of like clear a level and get to the top quicker. But it's very dangerous to do that with, especially on the later islands with so many enemies potentially awaiting above your head. You will probably only see me use that technique a few times. But it's a niggle for me when those items that drop down there, they're lost forever. God knows what items they would have revealed. So that's quite annoying. Another thing, if you there is a set number of enemies per level. Once they're dispatched, they're gone, don't come back. But if you sort of jump past them and move up a section, or drop down again, and then go back up, whatever, they will be back at their original starting position. So bear that in mind. I can't really think of much else problems in the game. The sprites are smaller than the arcade version, which actually is perhaps a little bit more helpful. Oh, there's the red tiara, my favourite pickup. Hey, lots of stars when you jump. Of course, the arcade versions are quite a bit faster, but this still plays at a good pace. But of course, the scrolling, the vertical scrolling, not the smoothest in the world, not the greatest frame rate. Oh look, there's that technique I was talking about, jumping up and up and up on rainbows. And when you do get that red tiara, which shoots rainbows out when you jump, it's wise to make as quick a progress as you can. Yeah, not the best scrolling in the world, but pretty good. Nice size on the enemy sprites, especially the boss battles here as well. They don't move especially smoothly, but they're bigger than like the Commodore 64 versions, like bosses. Not by much though, but they do look impressive. They have pretty simple attack patterns, but it's just like the arcade version. Okay, on to Dragon Island, round 25. This is the final island. This is Island 7. And yeah, red diamond there. Notice here it spawned when it landed in the far left of the screen. Now we've got these knights that bounce around. They're quite difficult to destroy from underneath with rainbows. And we've got like these muted babies as well. But we're doing quite well on the diamond front here. We've already got 3 already. But these dragons, they are a pain in the arse because they shift around, shoot fireballs, and they shift quite quickly. And more often than not, there's 2 dragons rather than 1 waiting for you, especially on the later rounds. On this first round, it looks like there's only one that comes at a time. at the halfway point there now. Yeah, and some enemies and their attacks can destroy one of your rainbows. Sometimes if they get caught underneath it, they'll break their way out, or a certain fireball will break through a rainbow. So watch out for that. So I discussed the negatives and the positives. Beautiful, beautiful, colourful graphics. Some might say a little blocky or pixelated, but nah, this is really good. Really good, delightful music. Might get a little bit irritating after a while, but it sounds fantastic. Yeah, you got the all the diamonds there now. Yeah, but the main thing about this conversion really is how it plays. It plays really well. Controls are decent. They are fairly well responsive. They could have been a little bit more tighter and responsive. I think there's the tiniest little bit of lag and delay. It's really minute though, and I'm really nitpicking. But it plays really fastly, really smoothly. Not the best frame rate in the world. There's a huge amount packed into this game, and for a humble 8-bit system like the Amstrad, this is quite an achievement. This is really impressive stuff. The sound effects are wonderful. The gameplay is just as fun as the arcade original. This is simply one of the best conversions on the Amstrad. I mean, we looked at Prince of Persia in my last video, and it's a tough call to, you know, between the two, which is the better one in terms of conversion. It's probably Donkey Kong on the Amstrad version of Donkey Kong, which is the most arcade perfect port I've ever seen, actually. And what a classic game for that to get that achievement. But yeah, this is brilliant stuff. And I might as well tell you what score I'm going to give this game. I'm going to give this a 9 out of 10. It's easily a 90% a game. So yeah, 9 out of 10 from me. And we're not far off the final boss as well. This is stunning work, and of course it gets extra marks for cramming in all these sprites and enemies and items and secret items, power-ups. It's pretty much all there. It's amazing, really, how they crammed it in. And I think they're all present in the 64K version as well. The only thing the 64K version is missing, I think, is the music in game. And I think that's all it's missing. Obviously, I'm doing the 128K memory version. Ah, yeah, second to last round. Watch out for those acid blobs and also those ghosts which move about the screen. They're not restricted by platforms like other enemies, and neither are the dragons. And yeah, it pays to take your time and be cautious, but remember there is a time limit. You don't want to get drowned by the sea rising. If you do get the hurry message and the sea starts coming up, you don't have long. You've got to move really quickly. You've got to shift. What else to mention? Yes, of course, I said this was like the sequel to Bubble Bobble. There is a third game in the series called Parasol Stars. Despite some suggestion, Parasol Stars was never released in the arcade. It was actually done for the home computers at the time. I think the PC Engine was the main target at the time. And a pretty good game it was too. Although, despite being advertised for the Amstrad and also the Spectrum and Commodore 64, it was never released. So it's one of those games that are missing in action, really. There possibly could be some code out there for it, who knows. There's also been some talk on the forums of doing a version of it. And guys, if you haven't checked it out already, there has been a remake of Bubble Bobble for the Amstrad. I mean, there was already a commercially released version, but it was pretty rubbish. It's called Bubble Bobble for CPC, or BB for CPC. You can download it free. It is utterly amazing, packed with all the hidden items and secrets, just like this version is of Rainbow Islands. I've been meaning to do a review of that for a long time, actually. Bubble Bobble for CPC. Go on, Google it, find it. It should be on CPC Power website. But anyway, we're on the final level here now. So let's concentrate. Still not the most difficult round I've played. But still pretty tough. Again, take your time. Try and get as enemies dispatched as best you can before moving up. Take your time. So you don't take too long. Lots of nasty dragons waiting for you though. So if you do have a dragon, concentrate on getting rid of that first if you can. We're not far off now. There'll be a nice little touch shortly. I think stars start falling down from the screen, from the top of the screen. Another really nice touch. Oh, that was close. And there's the stars falling. Signify we're near the end of the game, I believe. I don't think the stars actually do anything, but it's a nice touch, and it's really good that the programmers have bothered to put that in. So the programmer, David O'Connor, even though I can't find you listed of doing any other Amstrad games, thank you very much for all the effort you put into this. Well done to John Cumming for the wonderful graphics, and Steve Turner for the wonderful music and sound effects too. So yeah, a 9 out of 10 from me. Perhaps misses out on getting 9.5. No, maybe I'll do 9.5. I'd say about 94% for this. But here's the final boss battle, the dragon. Again, quite a tough boss, but a simple attack pattern. He's nearly a goner. And there we go. And if you've done it right by collecting all the diamonds for each island, you get the completed message there and the good ending. Now, I've not mentioned about what happens for the ending sequence. Unfortunately, guys, it's just a text screen, which I'm knocking a few points off for. Thank you very much, Bubby. A last piece came back to this world. Thanks to your brave act, we shall never forget your achievement ever. Thank you. And massive bonus there. Stock 9. I think that means we've got all the current power-ups available to us. And a total bonus of 10 million points. Wow. And then we get a screen listing all the members of Graftgold at the time. And that's it. Unfortunately, quite a disappointing ending. And the one thing I forgot to mention, actually, the Spectrum version has over the Amstrad is it has just a touch more presentation between the levels. For example, it has the island map. It does have it's the same text screen, but with a nice sort of picture behind it. And it has like a flashing logo on the title screen. So it's a slightly disappointing ending there. But anyway. I'm going to go up to maybe 9.5 because I've given it 94%, so rounding that up, that's nearer to 9.5. So on to the bonus footage I promised. I'm going to find one of the secret power-ups by collecting the diamonds in order. I'm going to jump to Toy Island and get the red, orange, yellow, green, light blue, dark blue and purple in order. Because the item you pick up here is rather special. And you can see how they fall in there. You've got the yellow and green. If they fall in a certain area, they'll turn that colour. So divide the screen vertically into about 7 sections to where the coloured diamonds will end up being and falling. So we need the dark blue one, which will be round about there. And you can see the purple one right on the far right there. And that's them all collected. So when we come to fight the boss, here he is. Now notice in the top middle platform there's a strange looking item there. And it looks like a book actually. So what happens when we pick it up? Hey, he's got wings! And you get to keep those wings. And basically, just by jumping, you can fly up, not needing to hit any platforms to jump up on, which is incredible for this, incredibly useful for this island, Doe's Island. So you have to move really quickly, and there's very, very little platforms on some of the later rounds. But there's lots of enemies though, so be warned. There he is in action. Top stuff. And you can really zip through levels now, makes things a lot easier. But like I say, watch Metra 81's video for all the secret power-ups. One more cool one is the fairy one. You get a permanent fairy on the next level, I think, or the island after. But there you go, guys, that's me done. Thanks for watching, hope you enjoyed. 9.5 out of 10 from me, and see you soon. Cheers.